Sex on the first date. That's the conversation we're going to have here today on Relationship Thursday. How you guys doing? This is Ron Sip 5 Myers, author, podcaster, and your uplifting life partner. Now, this particular conversation started because a young lady was asked in the question about a guy that she slept with on the first date. But now her feelings are attached. Now she's really starting to really care about this guy. And the question is it possible to move from that point of sleeping together, and what is maybe his thought process now, to is it possible that they can move into something that's more serious? And did I believe that that was even possible? No one can answer that question. And because it's always going to depend on the individual. That's why I don't like having blanket conversations, because I tell people, whenever you give a blanket, this is how men are. That's why I don't have those conversations. Men are this way, women are this way. Because I tell people, whenever you have those conversations, the chances of you being wrong are probably almost close to 100%, because it's not accurate. There's no test has ever been given that tells how men think or how women think. So when people say these things and they'll go 95% of men think this way or 98%, all those are made up numbers for people that want to support the conversation in which they're having. But there's no test that's ever been done to prove any of that. So it's just conversations. Even people that have done studies, they can only tell you 80% of the people that we did, this is the results. Because then we have to go into what age group were the people, what culture did they come from, what country did they come from, what's the beliefs in that particular culture that they came from. And you can go on, and you guys can see how there's never going to be able to be a test that's going to be accurate. So when people throw that out again, they're just throwing out things to support their particular conversation to make it sound like it's legit. And it's not legit. It's just a perspective. But anyway, so on that particular conversation, I told her, but you do have to think about the fact, what message could you have possibly sent? Because you do have to live with the consequences of your actions. This is why people talk about the 90-day rule, where they're talking about wait 90 days before you go to bed with someone. And the reason that they're talking about that is so that we don't have this particular conversation that she's talking about, where she went that fast and now she's all of a sudden has great feelings for this guy, and she doesn't know if she could go to that next level, if he'll be open to it. And if she had waited for the 90 days, that's pretty much what people are saying. If she waited for the 90 days, she would have got to know him a little bit better and could make that a better decision and then go to bed with him. Now, for me personally, again, you guys know I'm not into the 90 days. And the reason for that is because even after the 90 days, it doesn't mean he's into you. It doesn't mean any of that people are trying to promote it and make it sound like. And when people say, if after 90 days, you're playing with fire because he may leave, let him go. Bye. See you later. Hasta la vista. This is not about you doing this because you're trying to keep some man. It's because it's a choice that you're making, because you have to live with the consequences. So if it's not something that you want to do, and if he wants to leave because you won't give in, be willing to say bye-bye and not get caught in the stuff that people are talking about. Because as I've shared before, if I really like you, and this is back when I was out there acting wild myself, I can wait 90 days, I can wait 6 months, I can wait a year for you if you want, if I like you. But there's other women that aren't going to make you wait. So with that said, that doesn't mean anything about my commitment level to you or my loyalty to you or any of the other stuff that people are trying to make it sound like by saying wait 90 days. It don't say anything except I like you. And because of that, I'm willing to hang out with you and until you're ready. And for some people think because he waited the 90 days, he really cares. No, he may be just that driven to take you to bed, he or she, because again, it works both ways. And then once it's done, they dump you anyway. This is why you hear people to say they finally did it and now they regret doing it. And that's kind of what this young lady is going through. But she did it after the first night. And that's why she's asking, because now it's like, I can't take back that first night. Again, no one can actually answer that question for you, because when people say, well, if you're loose like that, no one will want to marry you. And folks, there are prostitutes that get married every day. So, and the partners know that they're prostitutes, and they're prostituting in their marriage. And they're actually got couples that are swinging and all this other stuff. So that's the challenge in especially the culture we got right now. It's kind of like, it is unfortunate that if you don't agree with people, then automatically it's like now we're in a culture where you don't have the right to believe anything except what everybody else believes. There's no more thinking for yourself, which unfortunately has always been kind of the culture, but it's getting worse and worse every day. Where if you have a different perspective, because not getting into politics, but like even we talk about Democrats, Republicans, which we've always had, never were we at a point where people wanted to kill you or people don't want to be your friend and they'll break off friendships because the fact is you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. It's like, I can't be your friend because you're a Republican. Wow, it's just like we've just gotten in such a culture, and it's very saddening and heartbreaking that we're at a point where people are not even trying to understand each other. We're not trying to have conversations. We're not even trying to communicate. We're just trying to say, this is the way I believe, and if you don't believe the way I believe, then I'm cutting you off. Folks, we can never grow and we can never prosper as a culture, as a world, with that mindset. You got to be willing to come to the table. That's why relationships, if you got two people that are doing their own thing and it's like my way or the highway, and that relationship can't work. So why do we think on a global, on a worldly basis, this is going to work? It's never worked and it's never going to work. We got to be able to have conversations with people and find out different perspectives, because it is a way for us to grow when we get to see why people think the way they do and why they act the way they do. It's the only way you grow as a culture. And we can only do that by being willing to listen to other people's perspectives. But anyway, I got on a tangent there. But the bottom line is, no one can answer that question for you. But do understand the odds are against you when you do that, because you do send a message to most. And and you know that if you went to bed with somebody on the first day, are they really gonna think that, ooh, she's picky and she's saving herself for the right man, or is that really gonna be the conversation? You have to be honest with yourself. You know the thought process, because you're having the same thought process about him, that if he went to bed with you, you're not sitting there thinking, well, this is a guy that's really trying to wait for marriage. No, you're thinking the same thing about him. So now, can we come to an agreement and both get past that night and make it grow into something? It is possible. All things are possible, which was the whole part of why I went on a tangent there for a second ago. If we're willing to sit down and have a conversation and be willing to understand a person's views and the other person's perspectives and how did they get to where they are today, yes, it is possible that she can, even after that first night, they could recover and it could grow to something else. But my thing is, learn to value you. Know your worth. Know that you're enough. And my personal belief is, quit sharing your body, which is the most valuable thing you've ever had, ever will have, and not just share it with just anyone, talking about because it's fun, or because I need to test, or because whatever excuses you come up with. The bottom line is, only you get to make the decision when you're going to do it. But do remember, there are always consequences attached to that decision. So don't take it lightly, especially when it comes to sex. This is not something that should be taken lightly. Unfortunately, we're in a culture that is the way it's being treated. Like, oh, it's no biggie. Everybody sleeps around. Whew. Man, the values, integrity, the character, we gotta reshape those. We gotta get those back on track and understand how valuable we are. And you'll hear people say that as they get older, they stop doing that. They started saying, I'm going to wait for the right person. Why? It's a maturity. And that's exactly what it is. It's a maturity conversation. So anyway, as you guys know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong. It is my opinion. Run on over to get the new app over at the Apple Store or Google Play. It's Simplified You. The letter U, not the word U, simplified you. Download that in the app. It's a free download. Enjoy the journey. It'll take you into everything that I got going on. And as you guys know, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. Don't take this sex thing lightly. The world acts like it's no biggie. But understand you live with the emotional scars that are attached every time you go to bed with someone else. That's why a lot of young ladies, unfortunately, don't value themselves, because they went to bed with guys who stripped them of understanding their value, and now their excuse so that they don't have to feel and really love themselves is to, well, everybody else is doing it and nobody's committed anymore. No. Learn to love you. Learn to know that you're valuable. You are enough. And make sure the right person, hopefully, is the only one that you're sharing your intimacy with. All right. As you guys know, again, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. And I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.